Hello, it's been a while. I felt like doing a bit of a talky video because, well, I always sit behind my drum kit, but it's also nice to talk to a camera about things because I'm not talking to people. Besides the point, this video is going to be 5 things that I think every drummer needs, in my opinion. You know, it's just from everything I've read online, my experience as a drummer. Let's go. So, thing number 1 is a good drum key, and you don't realise the difference a good drum key makes until you have a good drum key. So this is an Evans drum key. It's solid, it's heavy, which is really nice, like compared to the sort of the cheaper ones that everyone's got. They feel really thin and just crappy in comparison to this. And another reason to have a good drum key, it's always got a magnet in the barrel, so you can stick it on your drum and it's not going to come flying off when you're playing or like in the middle of a show or anything. And if you're tuning as well, it makes it much easier for it to sit and lock onto the lug. And the top of it, this bit's kind of like spiky, so you can really grip it for when you're tuning, and you can make sure everything's finger tight from that rather than like on the thread, because obviously you can't really grip the thread because it's round and it's designed to spiral and your fingers just slip on it. But this, you can really grip and sort of make everything finger tight like that. So a good drum key is number 1. So thing 2, staying on the same vein of like drum keys and tuning and all that kind of stuff, is the TuneBot. I'll put a picture of it there. And this thing is amazing because it's one thing to have a drum kit, but then to have it tuned properly and, you know, in tune with itself. Sure, you can do it by ear, but this just saves a lot of time. It's a lot easier, and if you can get your drums sounding good, you're more inspired to want to sit behind them and play them because it actually sounds good. You wouldn't play an out of tune guitar, so why would you play an out of tune drum kit? Get yourself a TuneBot. So the third thing is the most important thing on this list by far, and everyone will say it to you when you're young and you'll be like, oh, I don't need that, shut up. You do need it. It's good hearing protection. So I use Cosmic in-ears, so they're obviously molded to my ears and they work as a playback system as well, but you don't need these at all. You can get, you know, like Vic Firth over-ear ear defenders, or even like the 3M little squishy ones that you sort of twist up and stick in your ear. Those are super inexpensive, so you've got no reason to not buy them. And, you know, the longer you can hear for, the longer you can play drums for, so don't abuse your hearing. So thing number 4 is a good metronome, and it sounds silly, but having a good metronome, honestly, it makes your playing so much better. You know, you can sit behind a groove and you can sit in the pocket a lot easier if you're playing to a metronome more often. But more importantly, having a metronome that's easy to use and completely portable is the best thing. So I recommend this metronome app called Metro Timer. Put a picture of it there. And yeah, it's great. So you can change the sound of the click and the tonality, obviously the volume, and you can change like time signatures, where the accent lands, things like that. So you can experiment with all different kinds of playing and techniques and styles, and you can even set timers. So if you wanted to have a metronome on for like, I don't know, 5 minutes, you just want to blast paradiddles for 5 minutes, then you turn the metronome on, turn on a 5-minute timer, and then when that's up, it just turns the whole thing off, so you don't even need to think about it. Another good metronome app is called Gap Click. It's by Benny Greb. Gap Click is great. It's pretty cheap on the App Store, and it basically sort of runs the click for a set amount of time, and then it's silent, and obviously you keep playing in that silence, and then the click comes back, and instantly you'll notice if you're faster or slower, and it just helps you to, you know, stay in that pocket, keep your timing up, and it's a great app all round. Finally, thing number 5 is a good practice setup. Now, this can be as simple as a pair of big sticks, like these sticks. So these are 2B drumsticks, and they're really fat, but I don't play 2B when I'm behind the kit. The whole idea behind them is obviously to have something heavier in your hands to strengthen your wrists and your fingers more, and then when you play with your regular sticks, everything feels so much easier. You're so much lighter around the kit because you're not holding all this weight. Obviously, another thing that will give you a good practice setup is a good pad. So this is a Drumeo pad. It's got like a super squishy surface here and then a harder surface there. It's the same idea, just to build the strength on the harder surface, And then when you take it to the kit and everything's obviously tuned up and it's a lot more bouncy and responsive, everything becomes a lot easier. If you can't afford a practice pad, use a pillow or the bed or like a floor, a bunch of towels, and it doesn't really matter because the surface isn't going to respond. So what you're going to be doing is strengthening your wrist and your fingers, and then when you come to the kit, you're just like light as anything, just blasting around, and it's so good. Another thing that you could do if you want a better practice sort of setup is get your practice pad and go out, get another snare stand, just get something super cheap, doesn't have to be anything great, and then you can just click them together, obviously, to simulate your snare drum in front of you, so you don't have to like, you know, sit behind a kit to be able to play it. And if you want to be portable, it's, you know, it's 3 things: a pair of sticks, practice pad, snare stand. So that was my top 5, but I'll quickly just suggest 3 more things which I think are super useful and I've discovered over the years, which just have helped to make my life as a drummer so much easier. So first thing on this list is a 2-legged hat stand. You know, a bunch of companies make them. I personally use a DW one. And I just find it's so much more comfortable to sort of get my double kick pedals around, because I don't have that third leg sort of reaching over the other kick pedal. 2-legged hat stand is the way forward. Another thing super useful is a simple and easy way of playing music in your head. You want to make sure that you've always got an easy way to play music, so it's not like a stressful thing you need to think about. You can just sit behind the drum kit, plug your headphones into something, and then away you go. Stress-free, and you can just chill out and play drums. The third thing has many angles, and it's a way of recording yourself. With the covers, I go over the top and I mic up everything, turn on cameras, turn all these mics, record myself, but that's because, you know, audio engineering is my passion aside from drums, so obviously I'm going to do that. But for the everyday drummer who's just got their phone, it's fine. Just turn that on, record yourself, put it in a place where you can see your arms moving and your fingers, and you can sort of, after the session, review yourself and be honest. Just be like, yeah, my arms are really stiff here, maybe I should loosen up a bit. If you don't have access to a camera and you can only record the audio with like a little Zoom recorder or something, then that's fine, because when you're listening back to that, you'll be able to hear, oh, maybe that kick drum wasn't tight enough, that fill was quite sloppy when I went back into it, that was, you know, I didn't choke the cymbal right, and this is all good. This is all good stuff to know. Yeah, it sucks because you have to criticize yourself, for sure. It's awful, we've all been there, we hate it, but it's so good to do it, because it means you can actually understand it and you can learn and become a better drummer just from simply recording yourself. So that was a bunch of things which I think every drummer should have. You know, they make your life so much easier. All the things I've listed, none of them are too expensive. That's the thing, none of them are too expensive, and even having 1 or 2 of them makes your life so much easier as a drummer. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy, drop a comment. If you're new, subscribe, and let me know if you've got any other sort of useful pieces of equipment or tips for drummers just to make their lives easier. Peace.